You sold Shadow. My voice cracked as I stared at my mother standing in our empty stable. The fresh hay I'd brought back from the feed store fell from my arms, scattering across the concrete floor. Katie needs a car for college, my mother replied dismissively, checking her manicured nails. That horse was eating up all our savings and boarding fees and competition costs. It's time you grew up, Alexandra. I'm Alexandra Bennett, and at 17, I just lost my best friend, my horse Shadow, a black Arabian I'd trained since he was a difficult 3-year-old colt that nobody wanted. But he's mine. I paid for half of him with my summer job money. I protested, my hands shaking. We have competitions coming up. Where is he? Who did you sell him to? The Hendersons. They have that big ranch outside of town. My mother waved her hand dismissively. They paid cash, and Katie gets her new car. Everyone wins. Everyone except me, I whispered, but she was already walking away, her heels clicking on the stable floor. You'll get over it, she called over her shoulder. Katie needs this car for her future. That horse was just a hobby. Just a hobby. 4 years of early mornings, mucking stalls, training sessions, and competitions reduced to just a hobby. While my perfect sister Katie got everything handed to her on a silver platter. I ran to my room, slamming the door behind me. The walls were covered in ribbons and photos, Shadow and me clearing jumps, performing dressage patterns, standing proudly in winner's circles. We qualified for the state championships next month. All that work, all those dreams, gone because Katie needed a car. My phone buzzed. It was Jake, my trainer, probably wondering why we hadn't shown up for our afternoon session. Alex, where are you guys? Shadow's stall is empty. I tried to keep my voice steady as I explained what happened, but the tears came anyway. She what? Jake's usually calm voice rose in disbelief. Alex, did your mother tell the Hendersons about Shadow's breeding? About his competition record? I doubt it, I sniffled. She never paid attention to any of that. Why? Jake was quiet for a moment. Because Shadow isn't just any horse, Alex. His bloodline. Remember those papers we traced last year? The ones that confirmed his sire? I remembered. We'd spent weeks tracking down Shadow's lineage after a judge at a competition had commented on his remarkable similarity to a famous stallion. His sire was Almera, I said. But what does that matter now? It matters, Jake said firmly, because Almera's offspring are worth 6 figures minimum. How much did your mother sell him for? My heart stopped. She said she got enough for Katie's car. Maybe 20,000. Jake swore under his breath. Alex, Shadow's worth at least 10 times that. More, with his competition record. Your mother just gave away a small fortune. I sat down hard on my bed, staring at the latest photo of Shadow and me. It was from last month's qualifying competition, where we'd scored higher than any other junior rider in the state. The Hendersons, Jake continued, they're good people, but they buy horses for trail riding. They have no idea what they've got. We need to. A commotion downstairs interrupted my thoughts. I could hear my mother's voice, rising in that false sweet tone she used when trying to smooth over problems. What do you mean, papers? Of course he has papers. He's a registered Arabian. I crept to the top of the stairs, phone still pressed to my ear. Through the open front door, I could see Mrs. Henderson, a tall woman in riding clothes, holding a folder of documents. Mrs. Bennett, Mrs. Henderson's voice was sharp. This horse you sold us? We had our vet out for a standard check, and he nearly fell over when he saw the registration numbers. Do you have any idea what horse you actually sold? My mother's laugh turned nervous. He's just a show horse. My daughter did some local competitions. Local competitions? Mrs. Henderson opened the folder. Your daughter and this horse are ranked first in the state for junior riders. He's sired by Almera, one of the most prestigious Arabian stallions in the country. We've already had 3 calls from breeding farms offering to buy him for well over 6 figures. I could practically hear my mother's jaw hit the floor. 6 figures? The sale contract, Mrs. Henderson continued, pulling out a paper. It's not valid. You didn't have the right to sell him in the first place. The registration shows joint ownership between you and Alexandra Bennett. Without her signature, this sale isn't legal. From my perch at the top of the stairs, I could see Katie standing in the doorway of the living room, dangling her new car keys. She wasn't smiling anymore. Jake, I whispered into the phone, what happens now? Now? I could hear the smile in his voice. Now things get interesting. Stay where you are. I'm coming over with some paperwork of my own. The next hour was chaos. My mother paced the living room, alternating between trying to charm Mrs. Henderson and shooting venomous looks my way. Katie sat sullenly on the couch, her precious car keys now lying forgotten on the coffee table. Surely we can work something out, my mother said for the 10th time. Alexandra is a minor. I have the right to make decisions about her property. Not in this case. Jake's voice cut through as he strode into our house, carrying a leather portfolio. I have here the original purchase agreement from when Shadow was bought. Alex paid half from her own earnings, making her legal co-owner. It's all properly notarized. My mother's face turned an interesting shade of red. You had no right to help her make that agreement. Actually, I had every right as her trainer and as the seller's agent. Jake laid out the documents on our dining room table. Alex has been my student for 4 years. In that time, she and Shadow have won over 30 championships and qualified for state finals. Their breeding value alone is worth more than this house. Mrs. Henderson nodded approvingly. That's why I'm here. Not to cause trouble, but to do what's right. This horse deserves to be competing, not trailing around our ranch with beginners. I finally found my voice. So, what happens now? Nah, Jake said. We void this illegal sale. Mrs. Henderson gets her money back and Shadow comes home. He paused, looking at my mother. Unless you prefer to explain to the Arabian Horse Association why you illegally sold a champion horse without proper authorization. My mother's face went from red to white. But Katie's car is not my problem, Mrs. Henderson cut in. I've already called my bank to stop payment on the check. Shadow will return to his rightful owner today. Katie jumped up from the couch. This isn't fair. I need that car for college. Alex says it needs some stupid horse. Actually, Jake pulled out another document. Alex and Shadow are eligible for the Junior Rider Scholarship Program. Their rankings practically guarantee it. Full college tuition, plus competition expenses. The room went silent. I'd known about the scholarship possibility but hadn't told my family. They never came to my competitions anyway. Full tuition? My mother whispered, her materialistic mind clearly spinning. Plus expenses, Jake confirmed. But only if they compete in states next month, which means Shadow needs to come home today. Mrs. Henderson pulled out her phone. My son is already on his way with the trailer. He should be here in 20 minutes. My mother collapsed into a chair, her perfect world crumbling. All these years, she dismissed my riding as an expensive hobby, favoring Katie's cheerleading and social activities. Now she was realizing just how wrong she'd been. But I already told everyone about my new car, Katie whined. I posted it on Instagram. Then I suggest you post an update, Jake said dryly. Perhaps about how you almost cost your sister a college scholarship? I looked at the documents spread across the table. Proof of Shadow's lineage, his competition records, the scholarship information. All this time, I'd been quietly building something remarkable while my family was too busy fawning over Katie to notice. The sound of a horse trailer pulling into our driveway broke the tension. Through the window, I could see Shadow's black head poking out, his ears perked forward. He knew he was coming home. Alexandra, my mother started, her tone switching to the sweet voice she used when she wanted something. Darling, perhaps we could discuss this. Surely there's a way to benefit the whole family. No, I said firmly, surprising myself. Shadow is mine. My work, my training, my future. You can figure out Katie's car situation without stealing from me. Mrs. Henderson smiled approvingly. The horse world could use more young riders like you, Alexandra. Strong, dedicated, and principled. Jake gathered the documents, keeping the originals safely in his portfolio. I'll help you get Shadow settled back in. And tomorrow, we start preparing for states. You've got a scholarship to win. As we walked out to the trailer, I could hear my mother and Katie arguing inside the house. For once, I didn't care. Their drama wasn't my problem anymore. Shadow nickered softly as I approached, reaching his velvet nose toward me. 4 years of early mornings, endless training sessions, and complete dedication had created something extraordinary. Not just a champion horse, but a partnership that was about to open doors I'd only dreamed of. Let's go home, boy, I whispered, stroking his neck. We've got work to do. The month leading up to state championships was a whirlwind. While my mother and Katie dealt with the fallout of their failed car scheme, I focused entirely on training with Shadow. Our morning sessions started at dawn, and every afternoon was spent perfecting our routines. Home became a battlefield of cold shoulders and bitter comments. Katie had to settle for a used Honda instead of her dream car, and she blamed me entirely. My mother alternated between trying to guilt me about breaking up the family and making awkward attempts to show interest in my writing now that she knew its value. I could come to States, she said one morning, trying to sound casual as I packed my gear. Support you and, what's the routine again? Advanced dressage and show jumping, I replied, not looking up. But don't worry about it. Jake's family is handling everything. The truth was, Jake's parents had become more of a family to me than my own. His mother helped me prepare my competition outfits, and his father, a retired veterinarian, made sure Shadow was in peak condition. The day of States dawned clear and cool. Shadow loaded easily into Jake's trailer, his coat gleaming black in the early morning light. As we pulled out of the driveway, I saw my mother watching from the window, but I didn't wave. The competition grounds were buzzing with activity. Riders from across the state led magnificent horses between practice rings and stabling areas. In the past, I'd felt intimidated by the wealthy competitors with their expensive tack and professional grooms. Now, walking Shadow toward our assigned stall, I held my head high. We earned our place here. Alexandra Bennett, a woman in a blazer, approached us, holding a clipboard. I'm Margaret Wells from the Scholarship Committee. We're very interested in your performance today. Jake stepped forward, handling the conversation smoothly while I focused on settling Shadow in. But I caught phrases that made my heart race. Exceptional qualifying scores, breeding potential, full academic scholarship. As I prepared for our first event, I saw a familiar car pull into the parking area. My mother and Katie stepped out, looking completely out of place in their designer clothes. They hovered uncertainly at the edge of the warm-up ring, watching as Shadow and I moved through our pre-competition exercises. Don't let them distract you, Jake said quietly, adjusting my saddle one last time. Remember what we've worked for. Our dressage test was first. As we entered the arena, everything else fell away. The crowd, the judges, my family's drama. It was just Shadow and me, moving as one through the intricate patterns we practiced countless times. His hooves seemed to float above the ground, each transition smooth as silk. When we finished, the applause was thunderous. I caught a glimpse of the judges' faces. They were smiling, actually smiling. Even my mother looked impressed, though she probably didn't understand what she just witnessed. The show jumping course was next. Shadow's ears pricked forward as we studied the challenging layout. Double combinations, tight turns, and imposing oxers waited to test us. But we were ready. As we cleared the final jump, the crowd erupted. We'd gone clear with one of the fastest times of the day. Jake was beaming as we left the ring, and Mrs. Wells was already making notes on her clipboard. The awards ceremony felt surreal. Standing on the highest podium, gold medals around both my neck and Shadow's, I finally let myself cry. We'd done it. State champions in both disciplines. But the real prize came after. Mrs. Wells presented me with an envelope containing a full scholarship to any university of my choice, plus funding for continued training and competition with Shadow. Your sister might have gotten a car, Jake whispered, but you've got wings now. My mother pushed through the crowd, Katie trailing behind her. Alexandra, darling, this is wonderful. I always knew you had potential. Perhaps now we could discuss sharing some of the competition earnings. Actually, I cut her off. All competition earnings go into Shadow's care and my education fund. It's part of the scholarship contract. I patted Shadow's neck. Isn't it amazing what a stupid hobby can become when someone believes in it? The look on their faces was priceless. 4 years of dismissing my passion, of favoring Katie's every whim, and now they were seeing the results of their choices. That evening, as I brushed Shadow in his stall, surrounded by our ribbons and medals, I felt nothing but peace. Tomorrow, I would start looking at universities, planning my future in equestrian sports. My mother and sister would have to figure out their own paths. We did it, boy, I whispered to Shadow, who nickered softly in response. We showed them all what we're worth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's soaring so high that those who doubted you become nothing but tiny specks below. Shadow and I had found our wings, and we were never coming down.
Hey everyone, I'm Henry. I missed you so much, Mom. I stood at her grave, placing fresh flowers like I did every month since cancer had taken her 3 years ago. At 25, I never imagined managing our family home alone, but at least my software engineering job at Tech Solutions kept me comfortable. "Henry, sweetheart, the kitchen sink is acting up again," called Aunt Sophia, her voice echoing through the hallway. Since she and Uncle James had moved in 6 months ago, supposedly because he lost his job, they had become a near constant presence. A few weeks, she promised. Now, weeks had turned into months. "I'm coming, Aunt Sophia," I sighed, heading to what felt less and less like my own kitchen. "Our Mia is so good with household stuff. You know," she added as I tightened the pipe. "She was just saying how lonely you must be in this big house." "I'm not lonely, Aunt Sophia," I replied, maybe with a bit more force than necessary. "Sarah and I are actually." "That girl." Sophia's tone sharpened. "Oh, honey, she's too career-focused. Not family-oriented like our Mia." My jaw clenched, and I twisted the wrench harder. Sarah had been my anchor since Mom died. We'd met at a tech conference 2 years ago, and she'd helped me through some of my darkest days. That evening, I was deep into my coding work when Mia accidentally stumbled into my office. "Oops," she giggled, wearing the shortest shorts I'd ever seen. "Didn't know you were here, Henry." I looked away, uncomfortable. "I'm working, Mia. Please close the door." "Don't be such a grump," she teased. "Mom says family should spend more time together." The next day, Sarah came over for dinner. I watched Aunt Sophia greet her with that smile, fake as ever. "So, Sarah, still chasing that promotion?" "Must be hard to have time for anything else," she said, voice dripping with false concern. "Actually, I just got it," Sarah announced, her hand finding mine under the table. "Henry's been so supportive." "How nice," Sophia replied, eyes narrowing slightly. "Mia just graduated. She's planning to focus on being a homemaker. Isn't that right, sweetie?" Mia batted her eyelashes at me. "Family comes first, right, cousin?" Uncle James shifted uncomfortably but didn't say a word. He never did, always deferring to Sophia's decisions. That night, after Sarah left, I overheard Sophia's voice drifting from the kitchen. "James, that girl isn't right for him. Mia would make such a better wife. We just need to help Henry see that." "Sophia, maybe we should let him," James began. "Did I ask for your opinion?" Sophia snapped. "We're not losing this opportunity. This house is too perfect to let some outsider take over." I froze, my mother's last words echoing in my mind. "Take care of our home, Henry. It's your safe place." But right now, it felt anything but safe. At dinner the next evening, Aunt Sophia stood and clinked her glass. "Family, tonight is special. Mia has something to share." "Mom, please," Mia murmured, squirming with fake embarrassment. "Our precious Mia has been in love with Henry for months," Sophia announced. "Wouldn't they make the perfect couple?" My fork clattered against the plate. "What the hell are you talking about?" "Language, dear," Sophia chided. "Mia has such deep feelings for you. You two growing closer is exactly what your mother would have wanted." "No, absolutely not. I'm with Sarah. And Mia is my cousin. This is insane." "Oh, about that." Sophia pulled a stack of papers from her bag. "While organizing the mail, which I've been handling to help you, dear, I found these." My stomach dropped. Property tax notices, all overdue. "You've been hiding my mail. That's illegal." "I was protecting you," she insisted. "Clearly, you're not ready to handle this house's responsibilities. But don't worry, I can help with the back taxes. If you make the right choice about your future." "Are you blackmailing me?" "Think of it as family helping family. Break up with Sarah, marry Mia, and we'll take care of everything." I stood so fast my chair crashed backward. "You're out of your mind. I'm calling the police. Go ahead, Sophia sneered. Who you think they'll believe? The neglectful young man who can't pay his taxes, or the caring aunt trying to save her nephew's inheritance? This is my house, I declared. My mother left it to me. A house you're about to lose, she replied coldly. Mia, honey, tell your cousin how you feel. Mia touched my arm. We could be so happy together. I recoiled. Don't touch me. This ends now. All of you. Out. No, dear nephew, Sophia said, her voice turning to ice. You get out. We're not going anywhere. You can't throw me out of my own house. Watch me. She held up a set of keys I'd never seen before. I had these made weeks ago. Uncle James wouldn't meet my eyes. Sorry, Henry. Sophia knows best. They were all crazy. I grabbed my laptop and phone, seething. This wasn't over. Choose carefully, Henry, Sophia called as I headed for the door. Family or that girl? You can't have both. I looked back, defiant. I already have family. Sarah's more family than any of you. The lock clicked behind me as I stepped out onto the porch, and my phone buzzed. Sarah calling. At least something in my life still made sense. Babe, I said, my voice heavy with everything I couldn't yet explain. Can I crash at your place? You won't believe what just happened. Through the window, I saw Uncle James slump in his chair, Sophia patting his shoulder with that smug, triumphant smile. Mia watched me leave, her eyes full of crocodile tears, as fake as everything else about her. The wind chimes Mom had loved tinkled in the breeze, almost like a reminder. I'll get our home back, Mom. I promise. I was in David Wong's office within the hour, sitting across from him at the same desk where Mom had signed her will 3 years ago. Sophie is trying to steal my house, I told him. David put down his pen and looked at me with calm intensity. Slow down, Henry. Start from the beginning. As I explained, David flipped through files, his brow furrowing. Suddenly, he stopped cold. Henry, did you sign these property documents? What documents? I frowned, leaning forward. I haven't signed anything. David's face darkened. Someone's been submitting paperwork to transfer the house deed. These signatures look similar to yours, but... He trailed off, and my blood began to boil. She's been forging my signature. Hold on. David rifled through more papers. These date back months. Transfer attempts, tax documents, even a power of attorney form. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Jennifer, my coworker. Henry, she said, sounding breathless, you won't believe what I found. I got into Sophia's laptop. I put her on speaker for David to hear. What's there, Jennifer? Emails. Tons of them, she replied. She planned this whole thing. Your uncle never even lost his job. She made him quit. She's wanted that house from the moment your mom passed. David's eyes widened, and I clenched my fists. There's more, Jennifer went on. She's done this before. 3 different companies reported fraud after she left. Faked expense reports, stole client information, the whole 9 yards. Just then, Sarah burst into the office, a folder in her hand. Henry, remember when you said Sophia worked for that accounting firm? I had my firm's financial crimes department look into it. She's been evading taxes for years, and not just for herself. She's helped clients hide money too. David, listen to this. Jennifer continued, reading from Sophia's emails. James, stop being a coward. Once we get the house, we'll flip it and split the profit. Henry's too naive to stop us. Mia knows what to do. My stomach twisted. Even Mia was in on it. Sarah's eyes were fierce as she held my hand. Wait. David pulled out another set of files, his expression turning grim. Henry, it's worse than you think. Sophia tried this before, with your mother's sister, Jenny. She tried to manipulate her out of her business, and Jenny ended up moving to Canada to escape. That's why Aunt Jenny cut off contact. I muttered, the pieces finally clicking. Sophia told me Jenny stole from Mom. Jennifer chimed back in. There are emails about other family members, too. She's been running cons like this for years. David adjusted his glasses, resolute. Henry, we have enough here for criminal charges. Fraud, forgery, mail theft. Then let's show her how it's done. I stood up, determination hardening inside me. What's our next move? First, we document everything, David said. Then we wait. Sarah's eyes lit up. I just remembered something from law school. If we play this right, we can nail her on federal charges. I glanced at a photo of my mom hanging on David's wall. Sophia thought she could steal my mother's legacy. It was time to show her how wrong she was. David started making calls, while Jennifer kept digging through emails, and Sarah jotted down notes with that fierce, focused look I loved. You messed with the wrong family, Aunt Sophia, I muttered. The wrong family entirely. Days later, Sarah, David, and I watched from across the street as IRS agents marched into Sophia's office. Our anonymous tip had started an avalanche, and now there was no going back. Mrs. Chen, one of the agents announced, we need you to come with us. The lead agent's voice echoed across the office. There must be some mistake, Sophia stammered, her face going pale. No mistake, the agent replied, holding up a thick folder. We have evidence of systematic tax evasion spanning 8 years. Right on cue, Sophia's former boss burst through the door, red-faced. Sophia, the audit revealed everything. The missing client funds, the fake accounts. You can't prove anything, she snapped. Actually, we can. The agent's tone was resolute. Your nephew provided quite the paper trail. 2 weeks later, I stood by the window of my home, finally restored to me, watching as Sophia was escorted out in handcuffs. 7 counts of fraud, 3 of forgery, and 1 very angry IRS. Mia ran up the driveway, desperation in her eyes. Henry, you have to help Mom. Like she helped forge your college transcripts. I held up a letter from the university's investigation board. They know everything, Mia, including how Sophia helped you cheat your way through school. Her face crumbled. But we're family. No, I said firmly. Not anymore. Uncle James arrived later that afternoon, looking years older. Henry, he began, his voice heavy with regret. I'm so sorry. I had no idea about the debt she hid or the lies she told. I've filed for divorce. Good for you, Uncle James, I replied, my voice gentler than I expected. Maybe you'll find your backbone in the process. Just then, my phone buzzed. A promotion notification. Senior software architect. On the same day, Sarah came home with her own news. She'd made partner at her firm. Babe, I said, taking her hands, will you marry me? I dropped to one knee in our backyard, the wind chimes Mom loved singing softly above us. Sarah's eyes sparkled with happy tears. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. A week later, a letter arrived from the county jail. I recognized Sophia's handwriting. Dear Henry, I'm so sorry for everything. Can we please talk? Family should forgive. I dropped the letter into the shredder without reading further. The local newspaper summed it up. Local woman sentenced to 15 years for massive fraud scheme. Below that, a smaller headline read, University expels student in transcript scandal. Sarah hugged me from behind, her warmth grounding me. Your mom would be proud, you know. Looking around, I felt a profound sense of peace. The garden Mom loved so much was blooming again, vibrant and full of life. My coding setup hummed in the study, and Sarah's law books shared space with my engineering journals. This house was truly ours once more. Sophia had traded her designer wardrobe for prison orange, and Mia's future had evaporated along with her fake degree. They'd wanted my mother's house, but instead, they got 8 by 10 cells. I turned to Sarah, grinning. Hey babe, what would you do if a family member tried to manipulate and blackmail you into marrying someone you didn't love? Would you expose them and cut ties completely, like I did, or try to keep the peace at your own expense? She teased. I think I'd do exactly what you did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Hey everyone, I'm Linda. I closed the deal, I announced, hanging up my phone in my sleek Miami office. Another beachfront property sold. 5 grueling years of fertility treatments hadn't stopped me from becoming the city's top real estate agent. At 34, I finally had everything. A thriving career, my amazing husband, Thomas, and a long-awaited baby on the way. You're glowing, sis, my sister Pamela gushed over dinner. She had been living with us for 3 months since her supposed divorce. I can't wait to be an aunt. At my next checkup, Dr. Chen frowned slightly. Your blood pressure is a bit high, she noted. I'm assigning Nurse Rodriguez to monitor you more closely. That's when I first noticed him. David Parker, the new night shift supervisor. He hovered nearby during my appointments, always watching. Fascinating case, he murmured, flipping through my medical chart without reason. He gives me the creeps, whispered Nurse Patricia one day. I've never seen a supervisor so fixated on one patient. Then everything spiraled out of control. One moment, I was decorating the nursery. The next, I was rushed in for an emergency C-section. The hours blurred together. David Parker burst into the room. We need to transfer the baby to Miami Children's, he declared. They have better equipment for these complications. But I haven't even held her, I protested, trying to sit up. No time, he snapped, waving transfer papers at me. The ambulance is waiting. Thomas paced, anxiety etched across his face. Maybe they're right, he said, torn. Let them take her. I'll go with them. Pamela stepped forward too quickly. I'll go, she offered. I'll keep you updated. Something was off. David avoided eye contact. Pamela kept nervously checking her phone. I signed the transfer papers, too drugged to comprehend fully. Don't worry, Pamela assured me, but her smile was empty. Everything will work out exactly as planned. I didn't know those words would haunt me or that the next time I saw my sister, she'd be in handcuffs. David announced, the ambulance is loaded. They're taking her to Miami Children's now. But that was the last anyone told me where my baby really was. The nightmare was only beginning. What do you mean there's no record? I demanded, gripping the reception desk at Miami Children's Hospital. A baby was transferred here last night. Ma'am, the receptionist replied, we haven't received any transfers in the past 48 hours. My hands shook as I called the ambulance company. The dispatcher's response chilled me to the bone. We had no transfers from Miami General last night. Are you sure it was our company? Back at Miami General, chaos erupted. The hospital administrator, a stern woman named Mrs. Thompson, called an emergency meeting. Mr. Parker called in a family emergency this morning and left the state. We're launching a full investigation. Nurse Patricia pulled me aside. Look at these, she whispered, showing me the transfer documents. They're signed by a Dr. Richards. We don't have a Dr. Richards. And there's more. I've seen David and your sister talking late at night, always stopping when anyone walked by. I demanded to see security footage. System glitch, the IT tech explained. All files corrupted during that window. Too perfect to be a coincidence. While everyone pressured me to move on, I refused. I combed through hospital records, schedules, anything that might explain the vanishing act. Honey, Thomas pleaded, maybe Pamela's right. Maybe we need to accept. Accept what? I snapped. That our baby disappeared into thin air. One sleepless night, I searched Pamela's room. Under her mattress, I found a manila envelope. Fake hospital ID badges, one half finished. My hands trembled as I took photos of everything. The next morning, I cornered the HR director. Show me David Parker's personnel file, I demanded. She frowned at the screen. That's strange. His references don't exist. And there's no background check. It's blank. Every employee has a mandatory background check. My phone buzzed. A text from Patricia. Found something. Meet me in the parking garage. Don't tell anyone. In the dimly lit garage, she handed me a crumpled note. I found this in David's office trash. It's a burner phone number, she whispered, and look at what's written below. My heart stopped. It was in Pamela's handwriting. Wire transfer confirmed. Pick up at midnight. There's more, Patricia continued. The night of the transfer, I saw them loading something into a private car, not an ambulance. I felt a chill creep up my spine as a car engine suddenly roared nearby. Headlights swept across us, and Patricia's grip tightened on my arm. Someone's watching, she whispered urgently. Linda, be careful. These people, they're not just hospital staff. They're... The screech of tires cut her off as the car peeled away into the night. My heart pounded as I clutched the crumpled paper. Pieces were falling into place. My sister, David, the fake transfer, the missing footage. This wasn't a tragedy, it was a kidnapping. And my own sister was behind it all. The business card in my hand read, Stephen Thompson, private investigator. When the truth matters. David Parker. Stephen tossed a thick file onto my desk. Real name's Daniel Pierce, 3-time convicted fraudster specializing in medical identity theft. This is our smoking gun. I breathed, feeling a mix of relief and horror. Oh, it gets better. Stephen laid out more documents. Your sister, she's $500,000 in debt to some very dangerous people. The kind who don't take IOUs. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Tom, the night security guard. Found something. Server backup from that night. Meet me in the basement. In the dim basement light, the grainy footage played on Tom's laptop. There they were, Pamela and David, helping men dressed as EMTs wheel out a small bundle. Freeze it there. I pointed at one of the EMTs. A tattoo on his arm was partially visible. Stephen leaned in. Known trafficker, works with an international ring. They sell babies to overseas buyers. My legs nearly gave out. Wire transfers, Stephen continued grimly. Pamela paid David $100,000 the day before your delivery. Money traced back to an offshore account. But where did she get that kind of cash? Loan sharks. And they'll want double back fast. Tom pulled up more footage. They loaded your baby into a silver Honda. I got the plates. The address led us to a rundown apartment complex. Stephen's contact at the leasing office confirmed that Pamela had rented Unit 4B under a fake name. Stay in the car, Stephen ordered, but I was already moving. Through the window, I saw them, 3 men, Pamela and David. And in the corner, a baby carrier. My heart clenched. That's my daughter. The men inside argued heatedly. The buyers backed out. One man growled. Too much geet. I found new ones, David argued. They'll pay double. You better. Pamela snapped. Those sharks want their money by Friday. Stephen recorded every word. We've got them, but they're moving the baby tomorrow. Not if I can help it. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd hoped never to use. Agent Martinez, remember that trafficking ring you've been tracking? I know where they're meeting tomorrow. And this time, I've got proof. Pamela's voice drifted through the window. By this time tomorrow, we'll be rich and dear sister will never know what really happened to her precious baby. I gripped the recorder tighter. That's what you think, sis. That's what you think. The following morning, just before dawn, the FBI swarmed the complex. The door exploded inward, agents flooding the apartment. My heart nearly stopped when I heard a baby's cry pierce the chaos. Baby secured. An agent called, emerging from the shadows with my daughter cradled safely in his arms. After 2 weeks of agony, I finally held her again. Target 2 attempting to flee. Radios crackled as David sprinted across the parking lot, a briefcase spilling cash. He made it only 3 steps before being tackled to the ground. And my sister? I asked Stephen, already feeling the relief wash over me. She's in custody, he replied, grinning. And you'll love this. Her offshore account got flagged. Guess who found her first? Those loan sharks aren't happy about their missing money. My baby. Thomas arrived at the scene, his face stricken with regret. Ellie, I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. I should have. Save it, I said, turning away, focusing on my daughter. Her name is Emma. The news exploded everywhere. An international baby trafficking ring busted, Pamela's booking photo plastered across screens, David's long criminal history exposed in court. Pamela tried one last attempt at manipulation, But it didn't work. David got life in prison under the 3 strikes rule. Turns out, he'd sold other babies before. But not this time. The divorce papers landed on my desk the same day an offer came to buy Miami's largest real estate firm. 5 years flew by. Emma grew into a fierce, beautiful little girl, and my real estate empire flourished, expanding to 12 offices across Florida. During one of my monthly prison checks, a guard handed me a note. "Your sister got a surprise visit from some angry ex-business partners," it read. "She'll live? Probably." On the TV, a news anchor narrated the story. A mother's love, a sister's betrayal, and justice finally served. I turned it off. We didn't need to hear that story anymore. We were too busy writing a new one, filled with love, trust, and real family. Revenge is sweet, but this was sweeter. What would you do if a family member committed a serious crime against you? Would you show mercy if they claimed desperation drove them? Or do you believe some betrayals are simply unforgivable? I chose to cut ties with both my sister and my husband, one for the crime, the other for doubting me. Many believe family deserves infinite chances, but where do you draw the line between forgiveness and self-protection? Was I too harsh with Thomas? Should he have been given another chance since he wasn't directly involved in the crime, or was his lack of trust a betrayal of its own? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Where do you draw the line? Share your perspective in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Hi, I'm Margaret, a 21-year-old senior at UCLA majoring in business administration. Life's been complicated, to say the least. Let me explain how things went downhill. Honey, Amanda needs you to watch the kids this weekend. My dad said over the phone yesterday, not even bothering to check if I had plans. Dad, I have finals to study for. I can't keep dropping everything for them, he sighed. They're your siblings, Margaret. You need to be more understanding. Sure, my half-siblings. John, 8, Elizabeth, 6, and little Tyler, 4, are sweet kids, but they're Amanda's responsibility, not mine. Amanda, my 32-year-old stepmother, walked into our lives 2 years ago, and she's, well, let's just say she's complicated. You won't believe what happened again. I vented to my best friend, Madison, over coffee at our favorite campus spot. "What did the princess want this time?" she asked. She accidentally threw out my mom's old recipes while cleaning the kitchen. Dad just stood there and told me I should be grateful she's organizing the house. My boyfriend, Chris, reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "You know you can always come stay with me if things get too rough." Thank God for my support system, especially Aunt Christine, my mom's sister. She's been my rock since Mom passed from cancer when I was 12. Losing her changed everything, especially Dad. "Margaret, sweetie," Aunt Christine said during our weekly lunch, "your mother would be so proud. Top of your class, an internship lined up, you're thriving." Thanks, Aunt Christine. I just wish Dad could see it too. But he's too busy playing happy family with Amanda. Last Christmas, he skipped my academic honors ceremony for Amanda's kids' school play. And the time before that, he missed my research presentation for their family photos. "Your dad's different now," Madison said while helping me study. "Remember when he used to come to all your debate competitions?" Yeah, before Amanda convinced him they were taking away from family time. Then yesterday, it arrived, my graduation invitation. 4 years of hard work, a near-perfect GPA, and a prestigious internship at Goldman Sachs, all culminating in this moment. I stared at the gold embossed letter, my hands shaking. "You're coming to my graduation, right, Dad?" I asked over dinner, trying to keep my voice steady. "Of course, Princess. Wouldn't miss it." But Amanda's eyes narrowed slightly, and I sensed trouble. "Actually, honey," she said with that saccharine tone that always sets off alarm bells. "We're having our wedding renewal ceremony that day. We need your help with the kids. You want me to skip my college graduation to babysit?" I couldn't believe it. "Now, Margaret," Dad interrupted, "this is a special day for Amanda. And my graduation isn't special. 4 years of straight A's, Dad." Amanda's eyes welled up with her practiced tears. "They only feel comfortable with you," she said softly. "We're trying to build a family here." "Family?" I laughed bitterly. "Is that what you call this? Don't use that tone with your mother." "She's not my mother." "You're being selfish," Dad snapped, slamming his hand on the table. "Amanda needs this day to be perfect. You can get your degree mailed to you." I stormed out and immediately called Madison. She dropped a bombshell that made everything worse. Margaret, I was filing paperwork at the office today. Your dad's been transferring huge sums into Amanda's personal account. What? How much? Hundreds of thousands. And there's more, she said, voice hesitant. Your cousin Amy told me Amanda's been spreading rumors that you're a troubled, ungrateful daughter, supposedly hostile to her kids and dealing with addiction issues. It's why Aunt Jenny won't return your calls. Then Madison hesitated. I overheard Amanda convincing your dad to remove you from his will last month. She told him it would be better for family harmony to leave everything to her kids. My phone buzzed with a new text from Dad. You need to apologize to Amanda. She's crying in our room. I threw my phone across the bed, feeling years of gaslighting, manipulation, and emotional abuse crash over me. My graduation wasn't the real issue. It was just the final straw. I won't do it, I texted back. I won't skip my graduation, and I won't apologize. Then don't bother coming home tonight. I called Aunt Christine, my voice shaking. Can I stay with you for a while? Pack your bags, sweetie. I'm on my way, she said without hesitation. As I threw clothes into my suitcase, another text from Dad pinged. You're tearing this family apart. I raised you better than this. No, Dad, I whispered to myself, zipping up my bag. Mom raised me better than this, and she'd be ashamed of what you've become. The sound of Aunt Christine's car pulling up was the sweetest thing I'd heard all day. It was time to stop being the family doormat and start being the strong woman my mother raised me to be. Once at her house, Aunt Christine spread out financial documents across her dining table. Look at these transactions. Your father's company is hemorrhaging money. How bad is it? I asked, leaning over her shoulder to scan the numbers. He's nearly bankrupt. These withdrawals to Amanda's accounts, Margaret, they're astronomical. Designer clothes, jewelry, luxury cars, she's bleeding him dry. Then she pulled up more records on her laptop. I did some digging. This isn't her first rodeo. Meet David Chen and Michael Brooks, husbands number 1 and 2. My jaw dropped as I read the articles. 2 wealthy men, 2 marriages, 2 divorces, 2 bankruptcies. The pattern was identical. Just then, Madison burst through the door, waving her phone. Margaret, you know Tom Wilson, your dad's business partner. I just saw Amanda leaving his beach house. They've been meeting there for months. The same Tom Wilson whose wife, Susan, is my dad's biggest client. Exactly, Madison said. And guess who's been accessing confidential company files? Files about Susan's investments. Graduation day arrived and the weather was perfect. Aunt Christine, Madison, and Chris cheered from the stands as I accepted my diploma. Chris hugged me tight after the ceremony. We're so proud of you. Has anyone heard from Dad? I checked my phone. Nothing. Madison's phone buzzed. Oh my God, Margaret, you need to see this. She showed me a video making the rounds online. Susan Wilson crashing Dad and Amanda's renewal ceremony. It was pure chaos. You gold-digging thief. Susan screamed, throwing documents everywhere. These are screenshots of you with my husband and proof you've been stealing my investment information. Amanda's mascara-streaked face filled the frame, her voice shaky. Robert, she's lying. Tell them she's lying. Then Tom Wilson appeared. It's over, Amanda. I'm coming clean about everything. My phone lit up. Dad calling. Margaret, I need your help. The FBI is here, saying something about securities fraud and insider trading. Amanda, she's gone. Cleaned out our accounts this morning. She even took her kids' college funds. I don't understand. Did she take the Cayman Islands accounts too? I asked coldly. How did you? Next time you marry someone, Dad, maybe do a background check first. Princess, please. I know I messed up. I need you. But as I looked around at Chris, who was bringing me flowers, Madison planning our graduation dinner, and Aunt Christine beaming with pride, I knew who my real family was. You're right, Dad, you did mess up. But I'm not the one who needs to fix it. I hung up, turning back to the people who actually showed up for my graduation. Ready for dinner? Chris asked, offering his arm. More than ready, I said, smiling. And guys, thank you for everything. The drama from the renewal ceremony was still trending on social media, but I didn't care. I learned something valuable. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting ahead. 3 months after graduation, my laptop screen lit up with a new headline. Mitchell Financial Group CEO under investigation. Everything had imploded. Did you see this? I called out to Madison, forwarding her the article. Amanda Turner, also known as Angela Watson and Patricia Mills, wanted in Florida and Texas for investment fraud. Aunt Christine read over my shoulder. Securities fraud, identity theft, embezzlement. Looks like your dad's company was just her latest target. My phone buzzed with another desperate voicemail from Dad. Margaret, please. The lawyer says I might face charges. Everything's gone. She took it all. I need you. Delete, I muttered, tossing my phone aside. The investigators revealed that Amanda had emptied every account before disappearing. She'd even taken her kids' college funds, dropping them off at their biological father's house with a note. Your problem now? Your father's company is officially bankrupt, Aunt Christine confirmed, going over the court documents. The FBI had found a trail of insider trading through Tom Wilson's wife's accounts. I was settling into my new job at Goldman Sachs in New York when my boss, Miss Mitchell, poked her head into my office. The Tokyo team loved your presentation. They want you to lead the Asia-Pacific merger. That's incredible. Thank you. Later that evening, Chris called to celebrate. I always knew you'd crush it in New York. When can I visit? Very soon, really. In our group chat, Madison chimed in. By the way, your dad was asking for your new address again. What did you tell him? Same thing as always, I replied, that I'm done being his emotional support animal. The holidays rolled around, and right on schedule, Dad's message arrived. Margaret, please come home for Christmas. I'm selling the house. Everything's different now. I need my daughter. I stared at my reflection in the window of my Manhattan apartment, watching the snow fall over the city lights. The scared little girl who once desperately wanted her father's approval was gone. In her place stood a woman who knew her worth. My response was simple: spending Christmas with Aunt Christine. Happy holidays. At least tell me you're happy, his final text read. I looked around my office at the promotion letter on my desk, pictures with Chris from our weekend trips, selfies with Madison during her New York visits, and a photo of Mom that always gave me strength. I am happy, Dad. That's why I'm not coming back. Aunt Christine's holiday invitation sat open on my laptop. Proud of you, sweetheart. Your mother would be too. Christmas dinner at 6. I typed back, wouldn't miss it for the world. Some people might call it karma, others might call it justice. But watching Dad face the consequences of choosing Amanda over me for years, I call it life teaching its hardest lessons. The truth is, family isn't just about blood or obligation. It's about the people who show up, who choose you, who stand by you. As I booked my flight to spend Christmas with my real family, I realized I didn't need revenge. Success, happiness, and peace were so much sweeter. What would you have done if you were me? Would you forgive a parent who consistently chose their new spouse over you, then only reached out when their life fell apart? How long can you keep giving chances to toxic family members before choosing yourself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.